Good afternoon. My name is Kyle Thien here with the National Weather Service office in Atlanta, Peachtree City. And this is your weekly weather briefing for the week starting Thursday, September 14th, 2023. Now, this will be a pretty short forecast briefing because we're not looking at too much active weather throughout the week. We are going to have some scattered showers and storms through Sunday. However, the forecast area is expected to remain mostly clear Monday and beyond. So that's the good news. And also, because we have some cooler temps coming into the area, we have minimal chances for severe weather over the next 4 days. However, the good news is early fall cool down is on its way. We're going to be having some very seasonal temps for this time of year, which is something we haven't had of late. And it's going to feel very comfortable compared to what we have been going through throughout the summer. So afternoon high temperatures are going to be in the upper 70s to mid 80s, mostly in the 80s. And morning lows are going to be from the upper 50s to the upper 60s, although mostly in the 60s throughout the forecast area. So currently, looking at the current weather features across the CONUS, we do have a really strong high pressure that is over the Great Lakes and Midwestern regions, with some drier air further up north, but we're not quite to the area where the drier air has penetrated in towards the Georgia, Alabama regions. We still have a lot of moisture hanging around, despite a cold front coming through as of yesterday. But because this cold front came through, we are expecting some lower temperatures today. And because that moisture is still in place, we are still expecting some scattered showers and weak storms, mainly across central Georgia. But here's a look at today's high temperatures. And as you see, there's a lot of 80s up on that map, even some lower 80s going down into Macon, some mid to maybe upper 80s coming to Columbus, Americus, Dublin, Statesboro areas. But further up north, even around Gainesville into the mountainous areas, we are getting some upper 70s as high temperatures up there will feel very pleasant for today. And then for our chances of precipitation, we are still dealing with scattered showers, somewhere in between a 40 to 50% chance for most of the area in general. However, areas around central Georgia, and especially the Columbus, Macon, Dublin areas, do have some elevated storm chances today. It wouldn't shock us to see one or two stronger storms up there, but again, because we have some cooler temperatures headed into the area, we are not expecting severe weather at this time, as instability of those areas is much lower than it has been over the last several days. Looking at our national forecast for tomorrow on Friday, we do have, even though the frontal system will be along the Gulf Coast, we do have a very weak low that's going to be spinning up across that frontal system. This is relatively normal, but that low pressure is going to enhance the Gulf moisture flow coming into Alabama and Georgia. And so mainly for tomorrow, around central Georgia or portions of the western forecast area, we are still expecting to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms again. No severe is expected, just general thunderstorms over that same area. And then as we get into this weekend, we start to see a low pressure really strengthening up as it's going across the Canadian area. But what really is going to drive this cold front that's going to be pushing down through the upper plains into all the way into the southeast by the time we get into early next week is a really strong high pressure system that's going to be coming out of Canada. That's going to be pushing a lot of drier air into the area. So we're going to have to wait past the weekend in order to get to that. Saturday, we have some minimal rain chances, but as we get in through Sunday, we're going to see this cold front push through the area with showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. And then looking at our rain chances for the next 3 days, Friday we see that concentration there in central and southern Georgia. On Saturday, we see that shift starts to focus as moisture gets pulled up into mostly the Alabama region and western portions of the forecast area. And then there on Sunday, we can see that's when the cold front's going to be pushing through. So earlier in the day, we're going to see storm chances possible up in the northern parts of the area, pushing down into central Georgia as we go throughout the day. And we're seeing we have general 30 to 50% chances of showers and thunderstorms there on Sunday. That'll be our biggest chance going in through the week ahead. And then finally, if we look at early next week conditions, this generally sums up what we're going to be seeing Monday through Wednesday. Big high pressure system is going to push down over the Great Lakes and East Coast regions. And we're going to have another strong cold front that's going to push through that's actually going to let some drier air penetrate the area, which is going to keep those rain chances very limited going into next week. We do have some very slight chance, but we really don't get above 20% for any areas after we get past Monday in through next Thursday. In addition, we're going to have very cool, dry air pressure that's going to be pushing into the area, so it's going to look and feel very pleasant as we get into early next week. So we see our forecast precipitation over the next 7 days, very minimal rain chances, and it's really all going to depend on whether or not a storm happens to hit your particular area. We do have enough shear aloft that if storms are to occur, they should be moving with a good speed. So we're not expecting a whole lot of training or heavy rainfall for any one particular event, but seeing some totals up there around 1/2 inch to 1 inch, especially down there in central Georgia. Again, it's going to be all dependent on whether or not a storm happens to hit your particular area over the next 7 days. But in general, relatively minimal rain chances, somewhere between probably about 1/4 inch to 1 inch, again, depending on whether or not we get a storm over one particular area or not. But really, I think what the biggest story is looking in for next week is going to be our temperatures. We're getting to the time of year where seasonal temperatures are starting to drop. And in years past, we've started to see these summertime temperatures really start to bleed into the early fall. But at least for the next week, we are going to get a reprieve from that. And this is a look at the plume of across our entire area of where these temperatures lie, with an average that you're seeing there along the numbers and the individual points. And what we could see here is we're looking at highs again, upper 70s to low 80s in general for the forecast area, with morning time lows well into the 60s. It's going to feel much more pleasant than it has over the last several months. Looking at your individual area, we have a selection of forecast points here. And again, we see those maximum temperatures generally in the 80s, although we do see some upper 70s bleeding in, especially Friday and Saturday. And then looking at our morning lows again, generally in the 60s, but especially Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, when we're getting that dry air really pushing into the area, it's going to allow those overnight low temperatures to drop down even into the low 50s up for our areas around Blairsville. But some upper 50s do bleed in there for northern Georgia, as well as that lower 60s. It's going to feel really nice, even a tiny bit crisp almost by comparison what we've had the last several months, especially as we get into early next week. So again, we got some showers and thunderstorms expected through Sunday, but they're going to be mostly scattered. We are not expecting any severe weather over the next 4 days because cooler temperatures are going to start to come into the area. But we're still going to be dealing with the moisture through the weekend, where we have another cold front coming through on Sunday, where we're going to start to see the drier air really try to penetrate the area. So showers and storms for the next 4 days, and then with dry air as we get into Monday and beyond. And then again, it's also going to feel incredibly pleasant, especially coming off of our summer months. Afternoon high temperatures mainly in the 80s, but we do have some upper 70 highs, especially for North Georgia on a couple of these days. And then morning lows are going to be mostly in the 60s, but we do have even some mid to upper 50s starting to get into some areas as well. So it's going to feel really, really nice with some scattered storms for the next 4 days and then clear beyond that. So if you have any other questions for us, you guys know how to reach out to us a variety of different ways. We're monitoring these channels. And with that, we hope you do have a pleasant week. Enjoy these temperatures. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.